Hey friends, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And tonight we're talking about implementing versus learning. So for the longest time in my life, I was a learner. I'm still a learner. I love to learn. Hey, it's exciting, right? Like there are new ideas and I don't know, there's something about learning that just is exciting. And then there's implementing. And implementing is not at all like learning, at least for me. Implementing is so heavy to me. It takes so much effort. It takes so much work to implement stuff, right? Learning is exciting. Learning is fun. You can read a book. You can listen to a podcast. You can journal and have new ideas. But when it comes time to actually begin putting those ideas into the physical form, right, to implement those ideas, all of a sudden the excitement goes to drudgery. It can go to boredom. It can go to, this is really heavy. And this is where I got stuck for years. And I see a ton of people in business for themselves getting stuck in this space, where in some ways we almost kid ourselves. In the space of learning, we almost think like, oh yeah, I'm learning. This is going to be great. This is going to be it. And in the space of kidding ourselves, we think that we're going to produce a result, but then never actually do the work of implementing the things we learn. Now, here's the tragic side of that. And I got to experience this in my life for a long time, right? And maybe you have too. The people in your life who hear you excited about the things you're learning are also the people in your life who then see you not implement. And so over time, what happens is you keep talking about the new things you're learning, never implementing them, and the people that are in your life begin to listen to you like a dreamer, like someone who won't actually do the work. And that's tough because it can be lonely in business. It's even lonelier when the people around you don't think you're going to do the work. That sucks, and I know, I've been there. Early on in my business, oh man, my wife and I had some super colorful conversations, right? We had some real conversations. Here I was in the dreamer of dreamers, and all the ideas and all the things I was going to do to change the world. And just, my wife's like, yeah, show me. Like at some point, it just, you can only be supportive for so long until somebody's like, hey, show me. Right? Just show me. Stop talking and just show me. So friends, right? Here we are at the space of implementing the decision. It's a decision point. It's a moment in your life where you decide it's learning is good, but implementation is what it's about. Because I think for those of us that like learning, like we are excited by the possibilities. Like our mind opens up to something and we see something possible. And so we get excited about that. But the result that we see as possible actually doesn't turn into anything until implementation begins. And so the very thing we're excited about doesn't show up in the real world because we're not great at implementing. So you can see where this leads us in business and marketing, yes? Marketing, for many of us, we know that there are proactive things we can do to grow our business. And we'll read books about them, and we'll go to courses about them, and we'll hire coaches about them. And there are many things we do to get an angle on, to get perspective on. What do I have to do to grow this business? Not just for my financial gain, but for the impact I'm here to make in the world. I really want to help people. And so what do I have to do to grow this business? And then we fill our brain with ideas, and then we don't implement. So this is it, gang. Like my life and business turned a corner when I surrendered to implementation. And it takes, this is not sexy, but it takes so much effort and energy and time and patience and perseverance to implement, to go down the road for years and implement, right? And so in the in the drudgery of that, you have to find the silver lining. There has to be purpose and mission and something that is bigger than yourself in the implementation. Because if all marketing is for you is checking a box for the Facebook gods, if all marketing is for you is doing a blog post because somebody said that's what you're supposed to do, you'll never sustain it. You'll never sustain the effort in the implementation, and so you'll quit. And then you'll go learn some more because you like learning. Learning's fun, and you'll get new ideas. But because you're not connected to the mission of it, the purpose of it, you'll get bored with the next thing. So what's the answer to implementation? Well, here's the back door, right, to implementation. You have to start to attach meaning to your marketing. Your marketing has to become more than just the next transaction. If this is just about money for you, your soul won't be in it. And for me, at least, I've really needed that soul energy, that energy that comes from the soul, in order to continue on the path of implementation. Because, I mean, I like money. Money is awesome. I think it's great. But it's not why I do what I do. And for a long time, that's how I sort of had marketing. Marketing was all about, how do I generate money? And again, I'm not saying I don't want money. Money's great. Money's a great measuring tool. It's a great scoreboard. But it has to be more. It has to be about more than money. And so that's the question, isn't it? What is this about for you? Why do you market? Why do you do this business? What's at stake? Not just for you. I think that was another problem I got into in implementation, was so much of implementation was about what's in it for me. And I'm just not wired that way. I mean, there's stuff that I want, sure. There are comforts of life, sure. But I'm more wired for helping other people. I'm more interested in that. I'm willing to play a bigger game for other people than I am necessarily for myself. And so you have to start to find, like, what's in this for you besides the next transaction, or what's in it for you, right? Like, so in other words, what's in it for you, meaning what's in it for others? Why do you do this for others? And if you don't implement, who's going to lose out? And more than you, who's going to lose out because you don't implement, because you don't show up? I had this thought today. I'll keep going on this one for a second. I had this thought today about, I'm exploring something. I'm exploring what are the causes in life that matter to me. Like, so, my company's called Groundswell. And the thought has been like, what will really cause the groundswell in humanity? What causes humanity to evolve, and what causes our consciousness to rise? And I've been thinking about that. Like, what are the there's only a couple, like for me, what are the vital few movers that create the groundswell in the world and change humanity? One of those for me that I'm pretty clear on is kids. Kids are that thing that raises consciousness. Like if the world were to invest in kids and teach kids how to think about themselves and their lives and how to connect to the divine and how to honor their strengths and their gifts, like if we were to pour into kids this way, that would change the world, right? So that one I'm pretty clear on. I'm wrestling with a couple of others. I'm not sure quite what those are yet. But like when I think about that's what's in this for me. I could give my life to that, right? For the next, let's see, I'm 43. So the next 40 to 60 years, I could give my life to creating work in the world that has the self-esteem and confidence of kids rise. I could give my life to that. And if I don't show up, if I don't implement, it's not like, oh, Chris doesn't get a car, Chris doesn't get to buy a hot tub, Chris doesn't get a whatever. No, if I don't implement the things that I've seen to implement, the things I've learned and been excited about, if I don't show up to implement, then kids suffer. Can you see how that changes the context of showing up? If it's just about me buying a hot tub, that's not there's no stakes in that. And this tribe really wants to make a difference for humanity. And so you have to start to attach things like your marketing and the implementation of your marketing and the showing up day after day, year after year in your marketing. You have to attach that to something much bigger than yourself. Otherwise, you won't continue to implement. That's it. That's it. And you won't implement, and then things get tough for you financially, and then you wonder what you're doing with your life, right? And then you get tired of the pity party, so you go learn some stuff and read a book and listen to a podcast and get excited again, only to repeat the karmic loop of not implementing. So here we are. What there is to do, gang, is to find the causes in life, to find the context in life that has you show up and choose to implement your important work in the world. Learning's great, but only to a point. We learn in order to what? We learn in order to implement. Do you hear that? We learn in order to implement. Man, I wish I had learned that much earlier in life. But that's the truth, gang. We learn in order to implement. So, if you would like to learn more about how to implement, sometimes frameworks make implementation easier. Sometimes context about marketing makes implementation easier. And that's what my 6-week program, the Groundswell Method Intensive, is designed around, right? Is giving you context and empowering context for what marketing really is. Not the games people play, the manipulative games people play to sell stuff. That's not the marketing I'm speaking of. I'm talking about the kind of marketing that changes lives and changes the world. And if you'd like to learn more about how to implement that kind of marketing, I invite you to go to groundswellmethod.com. Watch the free videos there to get the world of how we're talking about marketing. And on the last page of those videos is an application button. It says apply today, and you can click the apply button and fill out the application for our next upcoming 6-week program. Thanks for hanging out with me here tonight in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow, when we go live again, here's to you implementing.